it's really a timescale question, yeah. So the universe is 13.8 billion years old. Our own sun is 4.6 billion years old, and the Earth is about 4.5 billion years old. So that's obviously a vast timescale compared to the lifetime of our civilization. Certainly technological civilization, the Industrial Revolution, you might put it sort of 150 years ago or so. So that's a very, very short fraction. 150 years divided by 4 billion is a minuscule number. So the idea that even if another star was born at the exact same time as our star, and it had a planet develop at the exact same time, it took essentially 4 billion years for life to undergo this presumably somewhat stochastic, random walk, in an evolutionary sense, to get to us. So it'd be very surprising if that evolutionary timescale is not just comparable, but identical in every single instance on other planets, because presumably there are differences between these planets as well. And then on top of that, stars aren't all born at the same time. There is obviously our star was born within a cluster, within a stellar nursery, so we would have siblings. Actually, there would be other stars that were born at the same time as us. Actually, an interesting question in astronomy right now is to try to find those siblings. We don't know where they are. They've probably been scattered across the galaxy by now after 4.5 billion years, like sort of stirring jam and porridge. It all gets kind of mixed up in the galaxy over 4 billion years. So it'd be really fun to try and find those siblings. But of course, the vast, vast majority of stars were born at completely different times to us. Some are billions of years older, some are billions of years younger. So the probability that they would another planet would happen to have had such a similar history to us is just presumably, I don't think it's hard to do the calculation quantifiably, but it's presumably a very tiny number. We actually did a paper about the age of civilizations a while back in my team, and we came to the conclusion that most civilizations out there are probably far ahead of us, in fact, in terms of their age. And we're really thinking about the analogy of sort of trees in a forest. If you walk into a forest, there's lots of trees which are young, and there's lots of trees which are old, but actually most of the trees will tend to be fairly old. And the reason is because old things just stick around longer. So if you start with a 50-50 mix of, say, young civilizations and old civilizations, and you spawn them equally in the galaxy, the young ones, let's say, only last for 100 years, and the old ones last for 1,000 years. That's for 10 times longer. So yes, you created an initially equal mix, 50-50 of young and old, but the young ones pretty quickly die out. And yes, you can keep repopulating them, but the old ones just persistently hold on and stay there, and they keep repopulating as well at that same rate of 50-50. So you very quickly end up with an overabundance of the old civilizations in such a mix. And we sort of showed this in a computational simulation and did some sort of mathematics to back that up. So, regardless of their probability of interacting with us, I think it's probably true that we are most likely, if there are civilizations out there, and maybe there aren't, I'm sort of open to that idea as well. We may be alone, as I've talked about on the channel a few times before. But if there are civilizations out there, I think it's most likely that the majority of them would be older than us. But there would be some small fraction which are younger than us. And as I said, I think they're the most likely ones that would reach out to us. And the older ones would presumably have sort of moved on from the interest of communication, because otherwise why wouldn't we have seen them by now? Because surely they would have the capability of beaming us very strong signals if they wanted to.